Hi. Whoa, that was aggressive. Hi. I'm gonna tell you about all the times I've had a really shitty experience smoking weed. And there's a lot. I know why I have shitty experiences. Because I overthink. I overthink and I ruin everything for myself. Because I can't control my thoughts. Another reason why is because I think I've just had a lot of shitty weed in my life. That's what I've been told. Anyway, the first time I ever smoked weed, I was 15. That was 9 years ago. That's too young. Too young to be smoking weed. But I did it, so whatever. I made a story time about that. I will link it down below. It's a good watch. After that, it was kind of a downhill spiral. I'm not gonna lie. A lot of the times I would smoke with my friends and I would feel like I'm gonna pass out. My mind would be really fuzzy, I would be lightheaded, my body would be a little numb. I've only actually passed out once in my life, and now that I actually have passed out and I know what that feeling is like, that's exactly what I experienced when I would smoke weed. I remember one time I was walking down the street with my friends and we had snacks in our hands, like we were ready to go. I had to sit down right then and there on the street. And I was embarrassed, like it took a lot for me to say that because a lot of the times I did experience that and I would just ride it out. This time though, I had to sit down and eat because I just felt like shit. I don't know if it was maybe dehydration. I feel like I don't drink enough water in my life at all. I actually have water right here. Woo! On top of that, I would experience a lot of... It didn't relax me. Let's just put it that way. It did not relax me. And it does not relax me, really. Like, it doesn't relax my mind, but it relaxes my body. Like, when I smoke weed, I usually get really paranoid and then I want to pass out. Back then, when I was a teenager, I was already really awkward. I didn't know how to be myself. I didn't know how to be myself. It was really hard for me. I wanted people to like me and I didn't want people to think I was weird. Everybody loved my older sister and so I just wanted to be like that. I didn't know how to be like that. And so I would just experience a lot of anxiety, a lot of self-doubt. Smoking weed really enhanced that for me. And so you may be wondering why I even did it when I was in high school, and that's a good question. I think I smoked weed because it was something to do, honestly, and my friends smoked and so it was kind of like, hey, like that's what we're gonna do. Also, I think I was doing it the wrong way. I would smoke with this girl, we'll call her Jane because I filmed a story time with her in it and I called her Jane. We're gonna call her Jane and that's just who she is now. So Jane, I would smoke with her a lot. We would be in her garage with her brothers and all of their friends and it would always be a big group of people, or we would be in the woods. We would be smoking weed. So it was just never a good time for me because I was always with people that I didn't know and was not comfortable with and who were way cooler than me. That was like the beginning of my weed smoking, was wanting to pass out and feeling really uncomfortable. Pretty much me sober anyway. These are the funny times though. My sister lives with a ton of woods and trails in her backyard. When we smoke weed, or even when we don't smoke weed, we like to go back there and just walk and see what we can find. One time we were walking, and I think this was the same time we got horribly lost in the woods. We got lost in her backyard. We had to GPS our way out. We were walking down a trail and I saw a silhouette of what I thought was a dinosaur. And not just a dinosaur, specifically a reptar from Rugrats. I saw it in the shape of leaves, so it was green, and I just kept looking at it, and she was talking, we were talking, and I just kept looking at it, and I was like, should I say something or should I not say something? Because I knew I was like crazy, and then I convinced myself that I wasn't crazy, and I was like, you know what, I always do this to myself. When I smoke weed, I always overthink, and I always keep things to myself, so I'm just gonna say it. And this always backfires. Whenever I'm thinking something and I say it on a whim, it always backfires on me. And this time it did, because I sounded crazy. I was like,
is that a reptar?
And she was like,
What? What's a reptar? Like,
I don't know what came over me. Or my brain. I didn't explain. I was just dying laughing because I was mortified. I didn't want to explain. I didn't explain. And I just left it at that. I was like, never mind, never mind. I'm gonna save the best for last. So this next one, I was with my boyfriend and his two friends. I felt really uncomfortable around his friends because I felt like one of them didn't like me. I just didn't know what to say. That's how I always am. I was super awkward around them because they were his best friends. I had never really hung out with him with his best friends. They all knew the same music and the same people, and they just were best friends. There I was, being really awkward, being weird, being the odd one out. Nowadays, I would not be like that. But back then, yes, I was. So we smoke, which I should not have done, but I did. For the rest of the time of us hanging out, I did not say one word. It's so embarrassing. I just didn't talk. I didn't say anything. I just didn't know what to say. My mind was blank. I was feeling paranoid. I was feeling self-conscious. I was letting my mind take over. Then we get in the car. His friend actually had a really cute car. We go to the diner. I still don't say one word this entire time. We eat our breakfast. It's kind of earlier in the morning. And then we leave. And on the way home, guess what I remembered? That we forgot to tip. Not only did I hang out with these people for hours and not say a word, but then we forgot to tip the waitress, which I felt horrible about because I have waitressed, I have lived off tips before, and can you imagine serving a table of 4 kids and then they don't tip you? That is beyond shitty. That was shitty. I'm not even gonna lie. That was so shitty of us. And she was nice, and we all forgot because I was high and I was dumb. This next one is the most embarrassing one I have of not only smoking weed, but just an embarrassing moment in my life in general. I was with my boyfriend one day. We were hanging out in these woods that we love to go to by his house, and it's like woods next to a big field, and we always go into the big field. So we were smoking, doing our thing. I see this plane in the sky. I am convinced this plane is coming down. I am convinced this plane is crashing. Because I have this weird thing about plane crashes. This goes back to my paranoia. So we're in this field, and I see this plane up in the sky, and it's really low. And there are airports on the island. There are usually pretty low planes in the sky. I don't know why I thought that it was crashing, but I thought this plane was crashing. Because we're just sitting there, you know, chilling. And I'm looking at this plane for a really long time, and just thinking about it, and thinking about it, and thinking about it, and I realize if I don't say anything, we could die. And I would rather say something and save ourselves than not say something and die. This is my thought process here, people. First, see, the way I did it was crazy too. I abruptly leap to my feet and I tell him, that plane is coming down. That plane is crashing. We have to leave now. I start gathering our belongings and walking to the woods, back to the trail. And he's like, babe, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? And I'm like, that plane is coming down. That plane is coming down. Like, we have to leave. And he is such a good boyfriend that he got up, retrieved me, told me that everything is okay. And then we had a laugh about it, and we still laugh about it to this day because I know that I'm crazy. I know it. And I don't know, man. I thought the plane was coming down. Yeah. All right, deuces.